All right, and welcome to Open Mic Wrestling Night here on Twitch. It is the 23rd day of December, 2 days before Christmas. I hope many of you have gotten your shopping done by now. If you are going to be shopping tomorrow, you are out of your flipping mind. I might be one of those people that are out of their flipping mind soon because, as I was saying before, I might be that person that'll go out for just a little bit, just because I thought of a couple of new ideas, but I'm also crazy like that. So let's get this going. All right. What?
New ideas for who?
None of your business. None of anybody's business, really, for that matter. All right, let's adjust this here for a minute. Like my cowlicks that I have going on here. All right. Anyway, if you're listening on the live window, thank you so much. If you're listening to the recordings afterward via Fill in the Void Podcast Network on Spotify or iHeartRadio, among the other platforms in which the show is on, thank you as well. I really appreciate it. And the main thing, because normally if anybody's been following the show and you see a pattern or you hear a pattern, every Thursday that I go on the air I have guests. And it's going to be no different coming up for the next several weeks, as we have guests lined up for quite a while actually, which is really nice. I appreciate the guests and having interest coming on. And I already have a couple of guests that are actually interested in embarking on my ambitious project that I have in mind for WrestleMania weekend. More details about that as soon as I get a little more information, but in the process of trying to get everything set right now. So we have for the 3rd, because I'm still working on possibly somebody for this upcoming Thursday. Not so sure yet, but I'll hear from them soon. On the 3rd, we have Dan Ragu, Barrington Hughes, who's been making news every time he goes on MLW. Whether it be highlights of matches or his performance, he's been all over the place. And Santeria Cortez, they are known as the Gold Standard. They will be on the 3rd on Open Mic Wrestling Night. Then we have Mayhem Merlin and Carlos Gabriel. They'll be on the 10th, as well as Stephen A. He is not Stephen A. Smith. I'm not cutting anything off. It's just Stephen A. You can find him on Twitter. Does the History of FMW podcast, as well as does publications for the Japanese and U.S. Hardcore Deathmatch Wrestling newsletter. On the 17th, we have Grey Wolf coming on. And then on the 25th, we have the same guy, Stephen A., coming on for previewing the tournament season. So, again, I really am looking forward to having these guests on. I like doing that kind of stuff, getting to know the talents out there. You know, as many and any of you know who are who listen to pro wrestling podcasts. There's a million of them out there. The thing that podcasting has done for people is anybody can do it. That's the good thing, and the bad thing is anybody can do it. Because you really don't know where to find the good ones. But anyway, and a million interviews all over the place. But it's nice to have the conversations with these people, men and women alike. And speaking of women, actually, during the course of this show, you're not going to be able to see it unless you are broadcasting or watching me live on Twitch. A nice adult beverage. Anyway, I will be broadcasting a match between Sadie Gibbs and Kellyanne during one of my breaks here today. So if you don't watch me live on the Twitch broadcast, twitch.tv/Calypso426, you can't see this match. The way that I try to work it is I want to have permission from these talents to air these things. And I've been given permission by Sadie Gibbs herself. Thank you so much in advance, Sadie. And I I want to be able to showcase some of these talents a little bit more, give them a platform in which matches could be seen. Credit will be given to wherever the platform is coming from. So in this case, it's coming from her YouTube page, but I've been able to get it. So again, thank you for the permission with that. That'll be coming up a little bit later, as well as the wish list for the 2019 Crockett Cup. I know we're still in 2018 technically, but it's good to talk about. And if you've listened to me at any period of time, any length of time, I've been doing this on and off now for 8 years, just about. So the two things I always used to advocate for, and I still do, are women's wrestling and tag team wrestling. And women's wrestling is finally getting that push, and it has been getting that push for some time, but the tag team wrestling desperately needs it, I think. And I think the Crockett Cup could be that conduit to bring more attention to tag team wrestling and to bring it back into prominence. But we'll get more into that a little bit later, because I've had a person or two comment about throwing it out there on my social media pages about what is your wish list for the 2019 Crockett Cup. And if you're listening to me live right now on Twitch, you can see the number right down below there, 1-605-562-0444 when prompted. Please use the show ID and pin numbers accordingly, and then you can get on with me, and then we can talk some pro wrestling, whether it be the Crockett Cup or whether it be whatever you want to talk about in the world of pro wrestling. It is your chance, because right now it's a true open mic. Not that I don't like to deny anybody talking about anything in the world of pro wrestling. It's just Thursdays, like I just said before, mainly interviews. I'm hoping to get more of that going as time goes on. And we'll get into that. But let me get into this first, because this is something that I found interesting as I was kind of peeking through online. Again, I reiterate this every time because I don't know who's watching. I don't know when new people are coming in, so I always have to reiterate this and make sure that it's all good. I like to try and read the articles that I find live, like as I find them. Like I'll find the article, I'll read the title, clickbait or not. I want to be able to read it live and give my reaction live as I would be reading it to you, because I feel that's the best way to do it. And this way you get the reality of what it is, because a lot of these podcasts and radio shows will have time to study these things and have time to really give a full analysis of it. And if you're reacting to it live, like you would any wrestling show, and people are like, oh yeah, watch me react to this on Facebook Live, or watch me react to this doing this, this, and this. There's something authentic about when it's a real live reaction. So I try to do that as much as I possibly can. So I found this on Ringside News by H. Jenkins. The title of this article was, WWE doesn't want other successful pro wrestling companies to exist. Where anybody who's anti-WWE or on the fence with them or anything else of that sort, they'll agree with that right away, and they'll say, yeah, well, duh, it is the WWE. They're the big show in town, and they're this, that. But I don't necessarily, I find it hard to believe even the monopoly that is the WWE, or especially what they're becoming, especially with the what's seeming to be the global territories in which NXT is going to be accomplishing right now, especially after the launch of NXT UK. I'm sure within a matter of time, it's only a matter of time before they do like NXT Mexico, NXT Japan, especially NXT Japan. Could you imagine how awesome that would be? But then but anyway, let's get to this article and let's read this, and let's get some reactions, shall we? And again, if you want to call, there's the number down below. If you're watching this on Twitch, please leave a live comment here too. I will get to your comments. And if you're a troll, I'll get to your comments as well, as I did late the other day. Let's see. WWE is taking over the world and cementing themselves on a mountaintop that they already occupied. This means branching out into the United Kingdom in a big way. WWE recently signed their UK superstars to new deals that were much more restrictive and caused some issues with the UK wrestling scene. The NXT UK superstars are no longer allowed to be on any show WWE doesn't approve of. If they are allowed to wrestle, it must be okayed by Vince McMahon's company first, and their matches can't be on any kind of broadcast, which is kind of standard anyway. An EMT must also be present as well as other specifics, which is also kind of a no-brainer. To that, it's kind of what the regular NXT brand is doing right now with their association with Gabe Sapolsky and WWN Live and Evolve especially. So that's kind of the way that's working right now. You have Johnny Gargano coming back to Evolve. You've had Cassius Ohno wrestle there. You had Fabian Eichner as the Evolve champion. You have Street Profits as the tag champions. There's obviously, and it's been obvious that there's a working relationship there between NXT and WWN Live. It's almost like WWE's NXT is the third brand, which obviously I've been saying for a long time